Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Dr. Husam Zomlot, the Palestinian ambassador to the United States.
Yeah.
Hello. مساء الخير. Thank you. What a nice, beautiful gathering and program and organizers. I'm very touched to be with you today, my friends, kids, and families. It is indeed an honor to be speaking to you. I only wish it could have been under better circumstances rather than a continuation of a genocide that has lasted now for a year and a half. But we are where we are. Allow me first to thank the organizers, our good friend Dr. Alia, Mustafa, and all of your friends and team and husband and family. We are so proud of you. And Alia, you represent for us what Palestine has to offer. The spirit, the success, the professionality. We are so proud of you and all of you. And I'm very touched that you have managed to bring together so many friends and family and kids. We love kids, if they give us a chance to speak. And to put together such a very special event focusing on the children, our children in Gaza and in Palestine. I am, my friends, a child of Gaza. I was born in a refugee camp in Rafah, in the very south of Gaza. Over the last 18 months, as you may have been following, Israel has completely leveled Rafah to the ground. I have seen a before and after images and footages. I have been in touch with family, with friends, and with neighbors. There is little, my friends, there is little there left for me to remember. I don't know what it will be like to go back to Rafah and to Gaza again. Because go back I will as soon as I can. And I dread the moment that I will make that journey and see what has taken place. In fact, I was in Gaza and in Rafah only a week before this whole carnage started. But my friends, I can tell you what Rafah was to me as a child. It was my home. First and foremost, even though my family had been evicted, ethnically cleansed from our village in the ethnic cleansing process of the Nakba events, where 2/3 of the Palestinian people in the 1948, let her come, please, to make room for the Zionist state. I grew up in a UN refugee camp, the Shabura. I'm very proud of the Shabura refugee camp in Rafah. And I was educated in a UN school. The blue flag of the UN was for me second only to the Palestinian flag. In fact, when I was a child, I was confused. I always thought the blue flag was my flag because it was flying over my home, my school, my clinic, everywhere. And the 4x4 UN, I used to think as a 4-year-old child, these were my army, the UN officers. And here were people who cared and who delivered in the camp. Here were people guided by international law and dedicated to international human rights principles. Here were teachers and doctors. And in the camp were relatives and friends and neighbors, community. I often make it a joke that as if one mother is not enough. I had 20 mothers in the camp caring for us, the sense of collective solidarity and being. The camp was our community. The camp was my world. The city was my community. Gaza is beautiful, my friends. It's gorgeous. Trump is right, Gaza is beautiful, but it's not for sale. It is a bit hot and humid in the summer, Mediterranean. Ahmed Naouq nods in agreement. Cold in the winter. It enjoys the Mediterranean Sea as its western boundaries. Historically, my friends, historically, Gaza is exactly at the crossroad of civilizations. Palestine, of course, but Gaza. At a point where Europe meets Africa and meets Asia, exactly there. In fact, I was born in Rafah, and only few meters from where I was born is Africa, but I was born in Asia. Interesting, huh? And there is a story why I was born a few meters from Africa. Because my grandfather, who had my father with him, being evicted, forced out of their homes in 1948, he was walking with his fellow villagers. And he kept asking, are we still in Palestine? And every 2-3 miles, they would tell him, yes, Hajj, you are in Palestine. And at one point, he asked that question, are we still in Palestine? And they said, yes, but if you take few steps forward, it will be Egypt. So he decided to put his tent there. He wanted to protect his kids, my father, his children, and his unborn children, myself, as far as possible, but at the same time not leaving the homeland, staying in the homeland. And Gaza has some of the oldest human heritage, oldest churches, oldest mosques. It has historic sites that predate Christianity, predates Judaism, predates all the civilizations and religions we know. It is pictured in the Madaba Museum and Mosaic floor in Jordan from the 6th century and in the historical writings of Herodotus, going all the way back to the 5th century BC. Herodotus, popularly known as the world's first historian, talks of Gaza as a significant city and market in Palestine. I'm talking about the 5th century BC. It was a wonderful place to a boy to grow up in. Beautiful. Even with the presence of the Israeli military. Disgusting it was. Still, for a boy to grow up in that beauty with that community was so enjoyable. I couldn't ride my bicycle everywhere, of course, but at least I had my rides on the shores of the Mediterranean around Rafah, all the way to Khan Yunis every other day. I could bathe in the warm waters and watch the sun sink. I remember this vividly as a child. Watch the sun sink in the evening beneath the blue, beautiful waters of the Mediterranean. And the Italians here know what it means to watch the sun sinking in the Mediterranean. And the food, the food. I have to say, the food in Gaza is absolutely special. We have some tasters here today. Nothing will ever beat eating on the shore of Gaza. Appetite enhanced by the shatta, a bit of filfil, and the fresh sea air, and the waves, and the warmth, and the community. Those are my memories, my friends. This is the childhood I remember. This is a childhood that has been decimated over the last 18 months. Children, as is always the case in cases of war, let alone in a situation of genocide, have been the biggest victim of Israel's unhinged, criminal, and indiscriminate violence. In fact, the word indiscriminate is wrong because it is deliberate. It's absolutely deliberate and designed. My friends, Israel has killed over 15,000 children in Gaza over the last 18 months. 15,000 child has been killed. Let that sink in. Among them are some of my own family members. Remember that image that went viral worldwide of that girl, child, her body dangling in Rafah again. That was Sidra Hassouna, if you remember the name. That was the first cousin of my wife. Many other children are related to us, and I know many Palestinians here in this room have family members who have lost dear ones. Nearly 40,000 children have lost one or both parents in this very short period. 40,000. Some 18,000 children have been left all alone, unaccompanied by any relative. That's why, Alia, this event is very special to me and very important and significant. In addition to the largest number of orphans per capita worldwide now is in Gaza. And Gaza is now also home to the largest cohort of amputee children anywhere in the world. And no one in this room knows this best than Dr. Khalid Dawas, who has been there many times during the genocide to actually attend to our children and our people. Please give him a round of applause. Children, my friends, who have lost limbs to military violence, to US-made bombs, by advanced jet fighters delivered to Israel, and against which Palestine, including Gaza, has no defense. We cannot. We have no defense against these very sophisticated jet fighters. No shelters, nowhere to go, no safe zone. Only yesterday, if you followed, in El Mawasi, which Israel declared a safe zone, they bombed tents, killing several children. I saw an image of a father hugging his dead child. It's really heartbroken. And you may have seen the day before a child flung on the roof of another building, waving to the world. It's a war against children. It is a war against children. And the UN Secretary General was right when he said Gaza has become the biggest graveyard of children. And of course, in the destruction of homes and schools, in the denial of over 50 days now of entry of basic needs, food, water, electricity, fuel, or medicine, imagine what our children are going through. Imagine the suffering, imagine the fear. Imagine the childhood, the trauma. This is what children in Gaza are dealing with and have been dealing with for the past 18 months. And I have to say, for even much longer. This is what we have to understand too when we talk about rebuilding Gaza. Rebuilding is not just about homes and industry, important it is. It is not even just about the hospitals and the universities, important it is. Or the schools, of which more than 90% of our schools have been damaged and destroyed. 650,000 of our children have gone without education for the second year in a row. And 90% of Gaza's population now are homeless. But rebuilding, my friend, is not just about that. Rebuilding is about understanding the enormous trauma these children have suffered. It is about healing psychologically as well as physically. It is about hope, about endangering a sense that the future is worth living for. We have got to provide our children with hope. Hope. The challenge is enormous. It's huge. These are challenges first and foremost for us, the Palestinian people. But they are also challenges for everyone in the world, including our friends here in the UK. A world that has stood by to let this happen, and I mean the official world, is a world that has responsibility to put it right again. We must put it right again. But it is not just about responsibility and atrocities. It is about our shared humanity, my friends. Our shared humanity, about a sense that what happens to a child in Gaza or Congo or Myanmar or here in the middle of London is and should be important to all of us. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, as Martin Luther King once said. If a chain is as strong as its weakest link, the way children are treated anywhere in the world is a measure of our humanity. And our children is our weakest link. I may repeat that. If a chain is as strong as its weakest link, the way children are treated anywhere in the world is a measure of our humanity, of our civilization, of our values. So, my friends, but it is also our shared humanity that gives me hope. You and your children here give me hope. It is our shared humanity that brings you here today, for instance. I know you all came here for that purpose. Our shared humanity. I see backgrounds, I see colors, and I see heights and widths. I see you from all over. This is a sense of unity, really, of human unity. This is our shared humanity that has brought millions upon millions into the streets of the UK and the world over the past year and a half. You've seen the streets of London? I've just came from another big event. Everywhere, every day. It is our shared humanity that brought enough popular pressure, public pressure, to bear on the British government to announce even a partial arms embargo. You did it. The people of the UK did it. The power of the people did it. Our shared humanity has seen the outside world take measures, finally take measures, your pressure, at the International Court of Justice, at the International Criminal Court, the ICC, at the level of the UN General Assembly, where in a constant manner, more than 3/4 of the world's countries vote for Palestinian rights, and at the level of individual countries as well, the vast majority of whom have recognized the state of Palestine. Countries like South Africa, that took Israel to the International Court of Justice for the crime of genocide. Countries like South Africa that actually shown the world how to be an international actor, responsible actor. Countries like Spain and Ireland and Norway who've recognized the state of Palestine. These are countries that deserve our respect and our applause, actually, because South Africa and their history is being emulated for us. Because it reminds me when I see Trafalgar Square filled with Palestinian flags of the anti-apartheid movement, that actually it was the power of the people who ended the injustice in South Africa and freed Nelson Mandela. And by the way, it emanated all from London. Still, my friends, I am encouraged that there is now a global movement for Palestinian rights. And I am encouraged first and foremost by the resilience and the determination of our people in Gaza, in Jenin, in Tulkarem, in Al-Quds, in Al-Khalil, and all over. And I am encouraged first and foremost by our children. Children like Omar Issaq, who at the age of 2 months was flung from his home when an Israeli airstrike torn through his home, killing his parents. He flew. He was 2 months. He survived and was found in a tree next to his home, alive with just few scratches. You know, we have miracles in Palestine. We are used to miracles and resurrections. That is resilience. And Omar now 2 years lives with his uncle. I am hopeful because of children like Muhammad Abu Ida, who lost his hand in another Israeli bombardment and needed the lower part of his right hand amputated. Maybe Khalid knows about the case of Muhammad Abu Ida. He is not deterred and remains determined to become a first-class violin player and to pursue his passion for music. And go watch on YouTube Muhammad Abu Ida and how he takes your heart by his playing without a hand, in one hand. That's the defiance, the determination, the human spirit. I am hopeful because I know my people, my friends. Really, I know my people. We have suffered so many setbacks. This is not the first time. And we have bounced back all the time. But we want this to be the last time. We want this to be the last time. No more and no longer we would accept our children being slain this way. The mass murder and the mass destruction. So I am hopeful also because of you, the many of you here, because of your compassion, your solidarity, your charity, and your voices. Voices that will ultimately prevail, my friends, as we make our way. And we will make our way. And we are making our way to a free Palestine. Thank you.